we're going to keep looking at circles, but instead of just looking at the equations like we did a few units back, we're going to look at the area and perimeter as well. So to start with, the area and circumference of a circle, which is the perimeter, but it's a circle. Area is pi r squared, and I didn't get my superscript. So it's pi r squared, where r is our radius, and then your circumference, you have two options. One, either 2 pi r, 2 times pi times the radius, or pi times the diameter, which the diameter is twice the radius, so it's the same thing. So for this example, we want to find the area and circumference of this circle. So to find the area, we're going to do pi r squared, and so my radius is 8. So I have pi times 8 squared, and that is 64. So I'm going to leave my answer as 64 pi. We're going to leave it exact. We don't want to plug in and round, so we'll leave it as 64 pi, and then that's going to be centimeters squared. For the circumference, we have circumference, and just because I'm given the radius, I'm going to use the 2 pi r equation, which is 2 times pi times the radius 8, which is 16 pi, and again, we'll leave it in terms of pi. So we have 16 pi centimeters for the circumference. Okay, then another type of question you'll see is the area of the circle is 36 pi, and I want to find the diameter. Okay, well the diameter is twice the radius, and the radius is what I use in my area equation. So I'm going to say the area is pi r squared, and I'm going to plug in what I know. So I know that the area is 36 pi, and that has to equal pi times whatever the radius is squared. So I'm going to use this to find the radius, and then once I find the radius, I'm going to double it to find the diameter. So right now on both sides I have a pi, so I'm going to cancel those out, so we get 36 equals r squared, and then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So technically I get the radius is positive and negative 6, but I can't have a negative length, so I just use a positive. So my radius is 6, which means my diameter is 12. And we also have a type of equation where we're given the circumference. So my circumference of a circle is 40 pi, and I want to find the radius. So again, since I'm looking for the radius, I'm going to use the radius equation. If I was looking for the diameter, maybe I choose to use the diameter equation. So I'm going to say C equals 2 pi r. And I'm going to plug in 40 pi for my circumference, and I'm going to solve for r. Again, I have a pi on both sides, so those cancel. So I get 40 equals 2r, divide by 2, so then r equals 20, and that's all I'm looking for. Okay, remember our equation of a circle is that x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, and our center is at HK, at that point HK, and remember for this one, opposite signs for both H and K. Alright, so we change the sign, and then our radius is whatever R is. So if you're going from the equation, you have to take the square root to get your radius. So for this example, I want to write the equation with a center at 3, -1, and it has a radius of 4. So I'm going to put remember this is HK, so the H goes inside with my X and its opposite sign, so I'm going to put a -3, and then my K, I'm going to put in a +1, and then I'm going to square my radius, so we get 16. Here's an equation already written out for us, and I want to graph it. So first I'm going to find that HK point, so my H would be 0, and my K would be -2, so there's the center, and then my radius is the square root of 4, which is 2. So I'm going to go on my graph to 0, -2, and then I'm going to go up 2, right 2, left 2, and down 2 to get the 4 points, and then draw a circle through all of those. Alright, so start with a circle, use your radius, and go up, down, left, and right. Right, and then we also had to complete the square to be able to write the equation in standard form. That standard form is the one with H and K. And that's the only way that we can figure out the center of our circle and the radius of our circle. Right, so to complete the square, to start with, I have to have a coefficient of 1 in front of my x and my y. In this case, they both have a 2, so I'm going to divide everything by 2 before I complete the square. So then it becomes x squared, and then plus y squared minus 4x, oh, and this should be a y, plus 6y minus 24, oops, minus 12, goodness, equals 0. So all I did was cut everything in half. Now my x and y squareds have a coefficient of 1. Right? Then I'm going to rewrite them, but put my x's and my y's together. So I have x squared minus 4x. I'm going to leave a gap. And then plus y squared plus 6y, leave a gap. And I'm also going to go ahead and move that 12 over. It equals a positive 12. Now I'm leaving this gap because this is where our boxes come in. Remember, I have two boxes on the left, so that means I'm going to have the same two boxes on the right. And to figure out what goes in the box, we do b divided by 2 squared. So in this case, half of negative 4 is negative 2. Squared is a 4. So my first box on both sides is a 4. Half of 6 is 3. Squared is 9. So my other box is a 9. Okay, then I'm going to switch to parentheses. I'm going to have x in a parentheses squared, y in a parentheses squared, and then 12 plus 4 is 16. 16 plus 9 is 25. And to figure out what goes inside the parentheses is just b over 2. So half of b in this case is a negative 2, and half in this case is a positive 3. And there's my circle equation. So for this example, my radius is at 5, or is 5, because this is square root of 25, and my center is at a positive 2, negative 3. So now we're not just looking at the equations, we're going back to graphing them, to completing the square to write it in standard form, and we're also looking at area and circumference of circles.